When you think of arcade games, the first thing that usually pops into your mind are two genres: hand-to-hand fighters and beat-em-ups. While we will only be focusing on the latter, I am working on a separate list for fighters in a future video. So if you are at all interested in that, then maybe consider subscribing and ringing the bell to be notified. As for this video, I'll be sharing 5 games that I think you should know about. Like always, this isn't a top 5 list, so the numbers have no meaning. Having said that, on with the video. Starting us off at number 5 is Fightin' Rage. As stated before in another video, this is my all-time favorite beat 'em up ever created. I've played several new and old beat 'em ups, but this game in particular has a certain playstyle that I expect in this genre. I will say that there are many I haven't played, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. Games like River City Girls 1 and Shredder's Revenge felt very bland and a bit sluggish or less rewarding to play. I'm probably going to get a bit of flack for that, but that's how I feel. With Fightin' Rage, it feels familiar yet more hyper and modern. It's honestly surprising that only one guy made this game. You can choose up to 3 playable characters in the campaign mode. Gal is my favorite as she is quick and nimble. She is considered to be the weakest of the group, but I didn't let that stop me from playing her. F. Norris plays similarly to Guy from Final Fight, while Ricardo takes on a role akin to Hagar from the same game. With there only being 3 buttons available to use, you will quickly realize that it's much deeper and more complex than it seems. The grapple and juggle system is one of the best out there. The story here isn't always in your face with a lot of text bubbles, however, its scenery changes a lot through your adventure. With added multiple paths and endings, you will find yourself going through each playthrough discovering new things every time. The amount of content ranging from tons of unlockables and even a training mode may seem daunting to say the least. I don't know about you, but I really appreciate a beat 'em up with some meat on its bone. There are several hours of content to chew through in this glorious brawler. The combat is what can make or break a game like this, so when I played this game, it spoiled me from enjoying the many others out there. I seriously cannot play other beat 'em ups without comparing them to this game. That's how much I love Fightin' Rage. Its base price is $20, but its sale price goes as low as $4 USD. The 20 is honestly a generous price point with how much content you get as well as replayability. I implore you to at least check it out for yourself. You will not be disappointed. Next in our lineup we have Final Exam. Final Exam is a 2.5D beat 'em up with RPG elements sprinkled in. Its comic book art style is what drew me in, but its combat is to die for. I was shocked with how well crafted its combos and controls are. You can bash zombies into a combo and launch them in the air to then continue the combo. You can use melee weapons or guns at the switch of a button. It kinda felt more like a platform fighter than anything, but I'm not complaining. You get to choose from 4 playable characters that fit certain typical high school student tropes. You have the delinquent, the jock, the nerd, and a street dancer? Each has their own abilities and different stats. As you progress, you can make your character stats better with character points. You may also upgrade each character with new skills to learn using its own point system. These can vary from special attacks, passive skills, and more combat abilities. There are 8 areas that you'll have to hack and slash your way through in what seems to be more Metroidvania styled levels. This is a very unique beat 'em up as it only has one plane to brawl on. It isn't a problem since the maps are quite big and require some backtracking, but not to the point it becomes stale. There are ladders and stairs all throughout, so it more or less has a bit of platforming involved. You can find hidden collectibles as well as varying pickups like melee and ranged weapons scattered about. I found it a lot easier to find everything with a friend. This game does have online co-op, which is always appreciated in these fun brawlers. All in all, I really enjoyed my time with it and think you will too. If you're a fan of Left 4 Dead's atmosphere, then I'd say this is a lot closer than Back 4 Blood. Its base price is $5 and its sale price can go as low as 74 cents. With its ridiculously low cost of play, it would be a crime not to give it a try. I cannot stress how underappreciated this title is. Upcoming is a pretty weird one, Streets of Fury EX. Streets of Fury may look rough, but don't let its appearance keep you from having fun. If the style looks familiar to you, that's because it is. Games such as Mortal Kombat used this technique way back in the day. The idea is to capture several photos of the actor or actress and have them be the character sprite. This, if pulled off correctly, will allow the illusion of realism to be the graphics of the game. Of course, it looks severely off in modern times, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it charming. It was also made by the same devs that helped make Streets of Rage 4. Just something to think about. This game is super deep in terms of mechanics than you'd think. A good bit of beat-em-ups are button mashers, and you certainly could treat this one the same. Where it differs, however, is in the combo system. A lot of different moves can combo into one another. My favorite combos are the ones that feel like the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Mashing in any direction is its own combo string. Some work better than others and can even be taken to the skies. Once you understand that this plays like a fighting game, then you'll find yourself enjoying it a whole lot more. My favorite character was the long-haired guy, as his animations gave me a good laugh. His combo potential is pretty good too, with how well he can juggle opponents. Streets of Fury has a lot of modes to choose from. You have your normal campaign that's relatively lengthy, then there's other modes such as Challenge, Survival, Versus, and a pretty in-depth training tutorial mode. Like I already mentioned, this plays like a fighter more than a beat 'em up, so the Versus mode allows you to actually play like a solo playing 2D fighter game. I had more fun with this game than I thought I would. With its incredibly fun and creative supers to boot, there's just way too much fun to be had here. Its base price is 10 USD, but on sale goes as low as $1 or $3. If you're still on the fence, then waiting for a sale isn't a bad idea, but it truly is a stupidly fun experience. The amount of fun the actors look like they had creating this game makes you feel like you're a part of their goofiness. Up next is Maximus 2. This one is also an odd looking game. It looks as if you took the Scribblenauts engine and made it into a retro online styled fighter. Yes, this is a co-op experience and not just a couch one. I had absolutely no problems with its graphics until I got into the later levels. Most of the playable men are rounded and look super fat. The females are much thinner, which is a plus, but in the later levels there were better drawn female opponents compared to the playable ones. Usually I can dismiss certain design choices or art styles, but it kinda felt that the players could only use the more uglier characters. It's not a deal breaker, but definitely noteworthy. The controls were very fun and decently responsive. Sometimes it was hard to pick up something or do various other actions like a curb stomp or grapple opponents, but with time you will understand how to do them more accurately. You can use mounts in certain areas of the game, although they restricted me more than anything. You can't even get off of them manually. Whenever I got onto one, I had to make an enemy hit me in order to kick me off of it. Other than that, it was more than playable. This game has a level up system, and I thought it was the most genius thing. My biggest gripe with River City Girls, another beat 'em up, was that you had to pay for your moves. Here, however, you level up pretty fast, and as you do, you will acquire new moves. This felt rewarding and taught you more of the game as you played along. Of course, you can still look at them in the menus if you forget. Along with the level up system, there are other things you can equip and buy, like equipment and weapons. I know I've had a lot of nitpicks, but I actually really do like and enjoy this game. On Steam, the game goes for $6, and its sale price is usually $3. It is free on mobile as well, so if you're on the fence about buying it, then you can play it for free. You can even link up your mobile account to your Steam account. Overall, you can't really go wrong with Maximus 2. Our last game on this list is a forgotten Capcom game, Dungeons & Dragons Chronicles of Mystara. Chronicles of Mystara is a more story-driven beat-em-up with RPG elements. While it doesn't get in the way of this fantasy crusade, it was certainly a nice change of pace. This title bundles two classic arcade games, one of them being Tower of Doom and the other is Shadow over Mystara. When starting the game, you have quite the variety to choose from. Both games allow you to play as the fighter, cleric, elf, or dwarf. Shadow of Mystara adds two additional characters like the thief and magic user. Tower Over Doom's story follows 4 adventurers as they investigate monster attacks that then leads them to Archlich Deimos. Shadow of Mystara's story takes place after the events from Tower of Doom. They discover that Archlich was being used by a sorceress named Sin, who wants to take over the kingdom. The story is told through text, and you can even make choices throughout, which adds replayability. These were pretty tough games, and it makes sense when you remember it was originally a money muncher. I recommend looking at the how to play menu before playing because the game knows no mercy. Shadow over Mystara also adds more moves, attacks, and special attacks for each class as well. You can pick up weapons on the ground or buy them after every level from a shop. Money is found from defeated foes or by hidden chests in various areas. Overall, DnD Chronicles of Mystara is a fun and unique game to say the least. One thing I will say is that while you can brute force your way through, especially with friends, it doesn't tell the many rules of the game. I beat it without a guide, but I would have liked one beforehand. I found this pretty detailed guide on Steam for Shadow of Mystara, and I'll leave it in the link to it in the description below. Its base price is $15 and its lowest is $5. Chronicles of Mystara may not be for everyone, though it is by far one of the most unique ones out there. I may not enjoy D&D, but its beat 'em up was certainly a blast. Beat 'em ups are one of the coolest genres to ever be made in video games. There are certainly a ton made back in the day, but it has surely made a comeback in recent years. The indie devs that are bringing back this genre single-handedly is quite the sight to see, and I can't wait to experience what's next. With that being said, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.